Okay. Okay. Testing one, two, three. Think we're good. Think we're good. We're live. Welcome back to the Perspective, where I do cultural commentary over some life lessons and everything in between. Guys, I really had some other ideas for what I'd be doing going live today, but I feel it is very important to talk about what has transpired today. If you aren't sure at the time of clicking this video, I think it is now more than ever a time to let you in on the big news. So, political commentator and host Charlie Kirk has officially been assassinated today. In one of the craziest things I have probably seen in a very long time, and I don't say that lightly. Um, I guess like, even seeing this today, I'm sorry, I'm a bit at a loss for words because there's something very, very different when something like this happens in the modern age. I think when we hear about these type of situations in the past, you read through them in a lens in, like, history, in the history books, and you hear about it from historians and all these different types of things, but guys, what we witnessed here today was insane on so many different levels. I'm having trouble trying to formulate the words. And what I mean by that is we had a political commentator get assassinated at a school. And the video was circulating live for everyone to see, not live, but there's a uncensored video of it circulating for everyone to see on the internet. It is insane to see. And by so many accounts, I like honestly, when you first see it, if you see it, and we're not gonna do that here today, I just want to make that out there. You can't help but feel like it's AI. It's very surreal at first, and so, um, I really cannot believe it. I guess what I wanted to do in today's stream is I just wanted to talk about this and what some of the implications are, what it kind of means for our political landscape, and maybe perhaps have a discussion about like what it is that we can kind of do to prevent this type of stuff in the future. All right. So I guess first, let me go through the lay of the land here. I'm gonna share my screen and let's get everyone all caught up in case you aren't sure who I am actually talking about here. So all right, let's head out. Let's head down to Wikipedia. Let's do this properly. All right. So if you guys don't know, again, Charlie Kirk is the CEO and founder of Turning Point USA. He is a very, very high profile right wing political commentator. He's actually one of the folks who Donald Trump himself has credited for helping him win the White House this time around because of his outreach to younger folks in general. He is without a doubt, or he was without a doubt, a political juggernaut in that arena. Um, and actually, this is one of those things too. I will say about Charlie in terms of ideology, he and I are not on the same side. Um, in fact, we're probably on opposite sides on a lot of things, not all things, but a lot of things. But I will say, out of a lot of the right wing hosts, he is one of the ones I respect the most, if not the one I respected the most. And the reason for that is because with like he's probably one of the only folks who actually he says, whatever he was saying online, but then he goes out there into the world and defends his ideas. He goes out there into the world and challenges folks to debates. And it's not just kids on college campuses, though that is what he was doing in this case. He'll actually challenge other content creators and people who are more or less like in the same exact league as him. And I really respect that because a lot of these folks like to talk, but they never like to defend their positions. And I really feel like it's one of the most ridiculous things about our political landscape. So it's going to be one of those things that I really, really credit him for, and it's sad that unfortunately things ended up this way. I guess what it is that I wanted to go over as we're doing this though is I'll just lay the land in terms of what happened. So basically, Charlie Kirk has this event that he was calling I believe the "Prove Me Wrong" tour, where he would go around the country and he would get basically a crowd of people watching him. And it's like a debate event. A lot of his own fans would be there, but also a lot of people who do not agree with him would be there. But they're not there to protest him. They're actually there to debate him. And so this is part of the thing that I said I admired most about him because what you then have was a free exchange of ideas and an opportunity to debate someone you largely didn't agree with. But I think personally that like there's two potential outcomes for debates. There is you trying to convince the person on the other side, the person you are actually debating, in which I would say probably useless in a public sense, not like personally if you're doing it at home or something like that, it's different. But at the level in which these guys are doing it, I think that's will never happen. But in the sense of like the audience and the people watching, I think those are the people you have an opportunity to convince and change minds for, right? And so what I think his event and what his tour has done over the past year or over the past 2 years, whatever it might be, is that they actually helped make conservatism palatable for the younger generation. And this is the reason why, in a lot of ways, he has helped Donald Trump win over a lot of younger voters this time around. Now, again, I personally, he does not share my politics. It's not like the position that I would want to take, but I can appreciate the hustle and I can appreciate the mission, right? You really believe in something, you go out there and you try to affect change by spreading the message positively, properly, and effectively. More power to you. The only thing I think that should be done to combat that is to challenge that idea with debate for the opposite ideas, which is what I give people all the credit and respect for who actually show up to these events to do that with. Now, bringing it back, unfortunately, he was out there in Utah for one of the stops on this event, and it did not turn out. It did not turn out right. I'm sorry, guys. I'm still a little bit lost for words. I'm not even fully sure how I wanted to approach today's live stream because it is very. I feel like it's a very delicate topic, and it's kind of crazy to talk about. So please bear with me. I will try my. I'll try my best. Um. All right. So I I'm very hesitant on whether or not I show certain videos because okay, this is so this so guys, I'm gonna show right here. I'm not showing the clip. I just want you to know that right now. This is not going to be the main clip that you see on Twitter that's going crazy. This is just kind of the level set and to bring context as to what happened if you didn't see it. This video is blurred out, rightfully so. But it gives you kind of a gist as to what happened, the lay of the land. We'll go through it together. We'll talk about it, and then I want to talk a little bit more about why I think this is even worse than what we're seeing. So let's take a moment. Let's go through it, and I have some thoughts on the other end. Okay, so that gets straight into it. Guys, I need you to understand that he's at this event and I saw the numbers before, but there's thousands of students out here right now. Again, some are his fans and some are his political adversaries, but everyone is here to enjoy this event in one way, shape, or form, whether it is they be the ones who are debating him or be that they are the ones who are just listening to him debate. As he's talking and as he's out there in an exchange with one of the debaters, a shot fires out and it hits him right in the neck. And guys, in this uncensored video, it's insane. Like I really don't know what else to say. It's really, really crazy. They get him right there in the neck, and it hits his carotid artery, and you see that. I remember just seeing earlier in the day as I was seeing this news unfold. Some people saying he's in critical condition, and I just did not believe he would be able to pull out from this one. So very insane situation and very unfortunate. Let's keep going because we're gonna try to go through the events of the day so far. Again, with any breaking news scenario, news is all over the place. Nothing is really organized or together, and that includes me trying to do this live stream. So again, let's go through it together. Let's get up to speed and let's have a discussion about what's going on here.
Oh my God. Go, run. Oh.
So, like, as you could imagine, the shock of the crowd and everyone after that, because, like, when something like this happens, no one believes it's actually true. This is just a standard normal reaction for everybody.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
All right, just to get you up to speed, one of the things that is also tragic about this is that, at least at the point in which I'm doing this live stream, the shooter has not been captured. I could be wrong about that, could be off, but last I checked, the shooter has not been captured and the shooter is still at large. At the time, though, this video right here particularly kept circling around, and everyone was saying that this guy was the shooter. And for like an hour or so, they already found this guy's people try to face scan him and say, oh, he's a Democrat and all these things, because that's exactly what people always do when you have these scenarios. The first thing people are looking to do is where to assign blame on and which side they believe deserves the most blame, right? It's probably one of the most ridiculous things that happens at the end of all this, because like it's not about a side deserving blame. It's about the killer deserving the blame. But we'll get back into that in a little bit. That's why you're seeing this guy here on the floor and why this part is significant in the overall series of events of today.
You guys okay? Okay, love you. Be safe. Okay, be safe. Apparently there's been a shooting. I don't know who's been shot. We are here live at Utah Valley State University. I don't know if that was shots or if that was fireworks.
Okay. So just to give a little bit more context, I'm gonna let some other things play just for a second there. We'll come back to that in a moment. All right. So just to give a little bit more context there, what we just saw, in my view, is a very, very, I feel like it's going to be a very, very crazy moment in history, because guys, what we're seeing here, at least for me, and maybe I'm wrong with the timing or with the facts here, but I think what we're seeing here is probably the first death of a major political figure on camera in this age, right? Like this almost happened with Donald Trump last year at the Butler, Pennsylvania live rally where they attempted to take him out. But in this case, this was originally being slated as an attempted assassination. It is not attempted, right? This actually happened. And this is very scary, I think, because what it feels like to me is that when you see a moment like this, it feels like the culmination of just like us constantly racing towards the bottom of the barrel in terms of our social discourse. It feels like we are getting in it feels like the world is in a position right now. We are doing everything that we can to hate each other more, find more reasons to not like each other, find more reasons to be angry and dislike everything about the other side. We demonize the other side constantly, and then eventually something like this happens. Now, I think the problem is that in these moments, you would think that people would take a pause, reflect, and think, well, what is it that we can do to prevent this? What is it that we can do to, the term that's always being used, turn down the temperature? And I think, unfortunately, everyone always fails to properly do that, even in a moment like this. Again, I'm going to say, I am not a I did not agree ideologically with Charlie Kirk. But again, I respected what he was able to do. I respected his hustle. I respected the fact that again, he was able to um challenge a particular I really appreciate the fact that he's able to challenge ideas of the other side, but then also defend those ideas are the ones he had in battle, in live debate, going out here in campus and all these different things. So, like I said, a lot of people really don't do that. A lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people are scared to do that. I don't know why, but um, again, I could always respect the hustle, right? Um, but to bring it back to the point I was bringing up earlier is that um, one of the things I think are very unfortunate about this time is that what you do start to see is the the blame game starting to get played rather than the self reflection. How do we fix this problem? How do we potentially prevent gun deaths? How can we come together as a country and agree on what we agree on, disagree on what we disagree on, and move on, right? And in fact, in this case, I would say like, how do we how do we accept that one of the strongest values of one of the strongest things that make what is the right to free speech, right? And so the whole idea here is that you should be able to go out into the world, say what you want to say your ideas, not get shot like in the middle of well, sorry, not in the middle of a I guess out in the middle of the field somewhere, right? Um this should generally be the idea that we should strive for. And I feel like when we get into a place where we cannot disagree without resorting to violence, then the side that resorts to violence loses. Now, again, like I was saying, this isn't necessarily about one side versus the other because it's one person who went and did this, at least what we know today. But I feel like at the point in which you just have to resort to violence, you lose the argument, right? It doesn't make any sense at this point what it is that you're trying to stand for, what it is that you're trying to do if you have to resort to violence. In my mind, you lose. But again, I mean, when something like this happens, it's just like I don't know. There's a feeling of feeling defeated because it's like the whole project is in jeopardy now. The whole project of like people even wanting to do this. There was actually a lot more people mimicking what Charlie was doing here and going out there into the world and debating folks, whether it be live on like in live parks or I actually know some people who not personally, of course, but online who were their organization was actually doing the tour stops with Charlie, but in opposition to his ideas, but like doing the same thing, setting up booths outside of his event, having people line up to debate the opposite end. And I really could have appreciated that. And I feel like that whole project and the discourse around it and like the good that it brought is really in jeopardy now as a result of all this. But okay, sorry, I know I'm a little bit all over the place. I wanted to get back to what I was talking about in reference to some of the elements related to the blame game because I think these are some of the unfortunately some of the worst elements of this all. Uh, one second, I'm going to get some things together here. I also need you guys to know I am fighting for my life right now on trying to find certain things on Twitter without having the clip pass through on this live stream because that is all that has been up across my timeline today, and it is something I am trying so hard to avoid. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit of a turn in terms of what I've been um, talking about up to this point, and I just want to talk about again the blame game and like a clip that I noticed went around, and um, and some of the sentiments I think that some people are feeling. I know folks like myself are feeling. Right. Let's yeah, I'm fighting for my life on Twitter trying to avoid wrong things popping up. All right, here's just like this little clip for that passed by that I've seen of Elizabeth Warren, and so here's the tagline saying, Elizabeth Warren on people who say Dems need to tone down their rhetoric. Okay, so we'll get right into just her little reaction to that.
Please. Right. Why don't you, oh, please. Right. Why don't you start with the President of the United States? Right? And every ugly meme he has posted and every ugly word. Oh.
Oh, well, that was actually a lot shorter than I thought. Sorry. I thought it was the full clip. But basically, I'm going to show you one more as well, but it kind of goes into this exact feeling that people are now starting to play the blame game, and you have people saying, "Oh, well, we need to tone down the temperature, and we need to watch what we're doing and all these things," but no one is actually ever looking at what they may have done to contribute to the current climate. But specifically, guys like Sean Hannity, I think, are the worst offenders of it. Let's play the clip.
Where are the leaders on the left that will challenge this madness, that will speak out against it? And I'll add that anyone that claims to be a conservative or MAGA or pro-Donald Trump that uses that type of extreme, violent rhetoric, the same goes for you. There are some idiots that claim to be conservative. They are not. But the left has given us 10 non-stop years of rage and hatred and vile language. And it's undeniable that it is poisoning the minds of many people in our country, and it needs to end.
All right. Now, guys, I play you this clip, and I want you to notice that he says all this without a hint of irony. And this, to me, is what is the most egregious of it all. Because you have to understand, right? If we're going to talk about the temperature raising and all these things, and like I said, I feel really bad for Kirk, his family, his wife, his kids. He has 2 young kids, and he's 31. So in a lot of ways, he is very close to my age, and his family is very close to my age. So I very much can empathize with what they're going through right now. But for me, I just feel like when I have guys like Hannity and even Kirk in some instances, and I'm not going to say too much about him in that regard, considering what's happened today, but it's like during the Trump era, everyone has leaned in to bringing us down to like the bottom of the barrel, like I was talking about. He's talking, if you notice the way he's talking, he's saying it is only Dems that do this. And that is absolutely absurd and ridiculous. You cannot try to grandstand about being this moral leader in any way, shape, or form when Donald Trump is the president. When Donald Trump is the one who basically helped usher in the end of the like civility era that previously existed all the way up to this point. I feel like it's ridiculous. That's not what he said. First comment of the day, Penguin. That's not what he said. Well, thanks for joining the stream. What particularly are you talking about here? Maybe there's a bit of a delay on the stream. We'll play it again. Let's see if I'm missing something or I misheard. Very possible. A little bit tired today, but let's play it back and let's see what it is he's talking about, because I got the gist. His sentiments are a bit ridiculous, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's check it out one more time to be sure.
Where are the leaders on the left that will challenge this madness, that will speak out against it? And I'll add that anyone that claims to be a conservative or MAGA or pro-Donald Trump that uses that type of extreme, violent rhetoric, the same goes for you. There are some idiots that claim to be conservative. They are not. But the left has given us 10 non-stop years of rage and hatred and vile language. And it's undeniable that it is poisoning the minds of many people in our country, and it needs to end.
Okay. No, I mean, listen, I believe he basically is saying what I thought he was saying. He's saying, where are the leaders on the left to speak out against the vile rhetoric that and that has effectively poisoned the minds of many in the country? And the issue there is that in a lot of ways, the leaders on the left always do come out and speak about this. And I feel like this is where it's a bit uneven. Whenever something like this happens, you'll always have folks on the left, the leaders on the left, the elected politicians. I'm not talking about some like pink-haired girl, blue-haired girl on TikTok, right? Because I like this is what tends to happen. I'm talking about elected officials and also social commentators on the left. They usually come out and say, we condemn the violence. That doesn't represent us. That's not what we want to stand for. We need to do better. Heart goes out to the family and all these different things. That does not always happen on the right. I'm not saying everyone does that, but I'm saying in a lot of ways, there winds up being like folks who kind of lean into it. In fact, you know what? I saw this tweet from Mehdi where he was going over. You know what? Let me pull that up real quick because I think this goes in line with that goes in. Actually, I got this from Mehdi. That goes in line with one of the things I saw across this timeline because let's see what we got here. There is like, wow, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on here. Wow. All right, give me a second. I think I have it. I need to take it off screen. 1 second, guys. 1 second. I'm gonna just check my screen real quick. And again, like I told you, I'm fighting for my life here on Twitter, so I'm very, very concerned. All right, real quick, I'll just share this clip from Bakari Sellers, which I don't really like that much, but if he has a point, he has a point. All right, so with that sentiment in mind that we were talking about before, there always tends to be this thing where I think folks on the left are trying to do their best to condemn nonsense and condemn vile behavior and disgusting behavior and the things that really don't speak well of anybody and try to do everything that we can to disassociate from folks who celebrate that kind of nonsense, right? And I don't think there's necessarily an even-handed approach from the other side as well. And so when I see that clip from Hannity basically doubling down and saying, well, you know, where are the left leaders? Where are the left creators? Where are those people to stand up and condemn it? I'm like, they always condemn it. But what about, like, for example, you know, we had the plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. This guy says storming the Capitol. We have the break-in of Nancy Pelosi and the brutal attack on Paul Pelosi. In fact, everyone laughed at him for that, and they said it was like his gay lover or something like that. And no one actually condemned it, saying he probably deserved it, which is actually ridiculous. And then we had this assassination of Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband a little while ago, and the shooting of the state senator John Hoffman and his wife. So I'm not saying like everyone's to blame for not disavowing these things, but I would say like when you talk about leaders and commentators and people who more or less are the tastemakers of the culture and the space, personally, I don't think it's even-handed. And I think that when people say both sides do it, I agree, but I would argue when you say both sides, who are we quantifying in the side? Are we just saying like random people on Twitter and TikTok? Or are we saying the hired, the elected officials and the commentators who move the space? And I would say when you put that in place, you get a very, very different, very, very different mix. Like I think even like Gavin Newsom came out from California to say like he condemns this whole situation. The nonsense is ridiculous. And I think he even had Charlie Kirk on his podcast a few months ago. So again, you see a Dem leader come out and do that. All the presidents came out. Barack Obama came out to condemn it. Joe Biden came out to condemn it and send out their thoughts about Charlie Kirk and his family. And I don't necessarily know if you get the same energy from the other side. That's just my thoughts there. So wanted to get that out the way. Okay. I guess with that in mind, I wanted to talk about what I think some of the potential implications of this whole situation are, might be. And so there is, I guess, a response from Donald Trump. Let's go through it together. Let's see what he has to say. He just put out this message from the Oval, and again, it is in direct response to the news today. So let's check it out together.
Citizenship. To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible.
Everything that he said up to this point, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So like he said a lot of nice words about Charlie, and I agree with him about that idea about like this basically being the culmination of demonizing a particular group and people every single day, and the buildup and the culture that it creates as a result of that. But my problem is really going to be with the messenger here, because he is like the chief of, again, what I think a lot of this nastiness kind of comes from. But we'll let him continue for now. Like I said, I don't think he said anything too crazy up to this point. But I think he is going to say something a bit off. Let's keep going.
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals.
Okay, this is the section. I'm gonna bring it back to him. I'm gonna let it play, and I'll respond afterwards. But as you can see, he is about, in a moment like this, the president of the United States is about to blame the radical left and go off on a tirade about the radical left all day long. And now you can say, oh yeah, well, like that, the radical left is a problem or whatever it might be, however you feel. But I just want you to, I just like, before you say that, I want you to think how it would be if like Obama really, like after an event happened, Obama just got on his, Obama just got into the White House and started talking about right wingers all day. Like at a, with a White House address to the nation. That's the way I want you to think about it. But let's let it play, and I'm gonna let it go for a little bit. Interject when it makes
Like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory. May God watch over his family. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, listen, that very much feels like he is going to use this moment to go after some more of his political opponents. And I think that bit is always scary, I think, because in this second Trump term, he's pretty much already doing that in a lot of ways. I don't know how I feel about that, right? I mean, obviously, listen, guys, I'll be very, very transparent. I did not vote for Donald Trump. I don't like a lot of the things he's done, but that doesn't mean I hate the man. I just, I think the fact that he likes to play revenge politics on a lot of things is just ridiculous to me. And I feel that it very much contributes to the exact sentiments and growing resentment that he speaks about at the beginning of that clip, right? He basically spoke about, hey, this is the culmination of effectively having demonize a person and feel a certain way about them. And I'm like, but that's what you do. That's what you've done, right? Like you go around, you make people feel a certain way, like immigrants are coming to steal their jobs and things like that. And it's not saying we don't have laws that we didn't want to abide by, but it's just saying like there's a way you talk about people, there's a way you speak about people, there's a way you deal with people, especially as a leader, as the president, that I feel could really shape things. If Trump didn't roll in the mud as much, then everyone wouldn't follow him as he does it. So I just find that a bit ridiculous. I find that message, like I said, I think the first part is perfectly fine. Second part starts to feel like I'm going to start coming out for some people, and I'm not too sure about all that. So, basically, my thoughts are the implications for what this means and what happens next. I don't think are good. I also feel like it sets back, like I was saying before, this style of content that Charlie was producing in reference to going out and finding folks that you disagree with and debating them live in the streets. I feel like it takes a hit. And to be honest, it's some of my favorite content, only because like sometimes you can argue that the people who show up are just ill-equipped, but also it just gives everyone an opportunity to have these discussions. And if the main guys like Charlie in this case, he also was setting up debates with, like I mentioned, some people who are more or less his rivals politically, but like contemporaries, right? Like I mean, not like I'm the greatest fan, but like I heard in a few weeks he's supposed to be debating Hassan Piker. I think next week he was supposed to be debating some one of the organizers and founders of this thing called the Unf America Tour, which is the organization that was actually following around Charlie Kirk on the tour stops to like almost do like a counter messaging and debate folks like his fans that were there at the event. But again, that's all in good fun. That's all good discourse. And I like that side of it. It's unfortunate that now I feel like that side is pretty much going to take a hit, but yeah, I mean, let's see, what else am I looking to find here before we wrap up? I didn't expect to ramble too long today, guys. I just wanted to get on here and say a few things, and then that was gonna be it. I am not going to play these videos. Okay. All right. I'm gonna say this. We'll probably close soon then, guys. There's a clip that's been recirculating around about Charlie Kirk, and it's one where he was I'm paraphrasing here. He was saying that it might be worth the death of a few folks to ensure that we still have our Second Amendment. It might be worth it, right? And again, I could find the clip, I can play it. I'm not sure if right now it's in best taste. And I don't have it, and I realize that even my summarization might be terrible, but we'll probably go through it another time. I just feel like, unfortunately, in him saying that, he was like basically the victim that he spoke about in that case. It's like one of those like ironic, eerie sayings that go out there where he was saying that like it might be worth it. And so effectively it would have been like he kind of like was basically he was sacrificed by his own ideal in that regard. You know what I mean? I'm not pronouncing this correct, but I don't know. It's one of those things that people are now trying to circulate around in an effort as to say, like, listen, I get it's really sad that something has happened to him, but a lot of this stuff he represented and blah blah blah. And these are always the conversations that happen now in the current age, where we do not exist in the old time where something goes down and everyone universally says, you know what, maybe we should chill. Not really how it goes nowadays. Now people feel differently, and they basically get in a position where they're like, I give you that for 2 seconds, and now I start talking about what I don't like about you. So again, one of the worst things about our current era, but it is what it is. I will also say, one of the things that is one of the last things I wanted to mention before I get out of here for today. I don't even know where it is. Don't even know where it is. Um, I guess there's just one last thing I wanted to go over, which is just a bit of irony again, since we're on that topic. Um, I don't have the video. I'm not gonna play the video, of course, as I told you about this, but I'm gonna just read an excerpt from the last words he was speaking on the tour, and we'll just go through that one last time, and then we'll probably wrap up here. So again, as we were talking about earlier, he died on one of the stops. He was literally debating someone in the middle of debating someone when he was shot, and so I guess the conversation started about transgender folks and mass shootings, considering the killing that happened about a few weeks ago. The first thing we see here is we have this conversation about. So this is the debater asking him, "Do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?" And then he responded, "Too many." Then they followed up, "Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?" And then he said, "Counting or not counting gang violence." And that's when he was shot. And for me, I just find that to be, it's just, I'm not saying a gang member is the one who shot him, but it just seems so insane that in the middle of a conversation about gun control, mass shootings, and all these different things, in which in a lot of ways he has been an advocate for, like, against, not saying he's been for these things, but I'm saying he's been against gun control in any way, shape, or form. Saying that our Second Amendment or rights are very important, which I agree with, but like not having any tweaks around the edges or ways to prevent certain things. And it just seems very, very ironic that in the middle of that type of discussion and debate, that something like this would happen. Because this very thing will then lead to those discussions again. But the difference is now he was the victim of this type of discussion, of this type of situation, and he won't be around to debate it again. So, all right, guys, I I think that's gonna be it for me today. Like I said, I did not expect to get on here and ramble that much, but thought I would talk about it. I had a slightly different plan for what the live stream was today, and we got to adapt, right? So, thank you all for joining me today. That is the Perspective. So, what's yours? Let me know in the comments down below. Like the video if you have not already, and subscribe, as I got much more content like this on the way. So until next time, YouTube, peace. Now that's always the fun part of trying to end the live stream properly. Never get it done. Take care, guys.